Good morning and welcome to Kakaki Sports. Well, like Nkoli rightly says, so much happened in the world of sport over the weekend, from the Australian Open to the English Premier League and even in the Nigeria Premier League, and all of that. We'll be getting into all of that this morning on the show. And I'm not here alone as always. I have my returning guest, should I say lost but found? Yes, lost but found guest. He's back into the studio this morning and the first time in the new year. Talking about Justice Ali, a sports analyst, and in his own right. Good morning, Justice, and Happy New Year.
Good morning, Cindy. It's been a while.
It's been a while, lost but found.
You're looking fine and gorgeous, like you said.
Oh, thank you so much. You look good yourself. I mean,
thank you very much.
See you.
Madison Keys.
Madison
I would
Keys.
say congratulations to her. She showed to the world what it means to be consistent, to be resilient,
Yes.
to
Never give up.
To always keep pushing. It's been 16 years since she ventured into became a professional, in this game, and she hasn't won anything. The closest she came was 10 years ago, in
like
semi-finals in Australia,
times, yeah.
and she kept pushing and pushing all the time. It was even getting to her that she had to she had to get some rehabilitation. I don't know what was in her mind when she was walking down the court once more. I mean,
And against Ariana, defending champion.
Yes, defending champion, double defending champion.
Sure.
She has won and retained the trophy, but then it was a moment. It goes to show that in life you must be consistent with whatever you do. You just have to keep pushing. Your time will definitely come, and her time did come, and of course, I'm very happy for her.
Let's not talk about the man who's been in the news before the kickoff of the Grand Slam. That was talking about the Australian Open, and now he's in the news on the headlines as returning king of champion of the Australian Open. Your thoughts on Jannik Sinner and all that has happened, from the anti-doping crisis to him even getting through to the final and winning the trophy?
The 23-year-old, kept behind the doping crisis he's going through, focused on the game. He's been on a very fine form. 21 games winning streak. He has not lost in the hard court since 2024, and going on to win this also shows that he's going to conquer this sport a lot more in the years to come. Jannik Sinner is one young man who's very energetic, who is very enthusiastic on the court, and of course we all know that with time he's going to join the greats in the game. He's going to join the greats, in the game. He's joined the list of players who have been able to win their first 3 finals.
Yes,
and of course,
yes.
only Roger Federer was able to better that record, winning his first 7 finals. Let's see what happens as the years unfolds. Jannik Sinner is one man that everybody would want to see win more titles in the Grand Slam.
I'm talking about the opponents, the opponent at the final. That's Alex Zverev. I thought I'm thinking he'll be thinking. Madison did this one against Ariana, defending champion, and he was going to take this one against Jannik Sinner, but that wasn't the case. But what do you think about this young man? Should we see him in the next, top stage, getting the trophy against first seed or world number 1?
Well, in life, when you fail, you don't sit down. Or when you fall, you don't sit down. You stand up, dust yourself, and keep going. He's a professional. He knows that he is old enough in the game to know that your time would always come. So that he lost these finals does not mean that he will not stand up and keep pushing. Of course, if you remember how Jannik Sinner started, there was a time where he fell ill. He was even throwing up into a waste bin somewhere in China.
Yes.
And then one would think that would mar his career. But then, since then, he's been in blistering form. So you shouldn't just fall down and remain there. You have to pick up yourself and keep going.
All right, indeed, that is a good place to drop the conversation as regards to the Australian Open. Again, congratulations to Jannik Sinner and, of course, Madison Keys for picking the first trophy of the year, talking about the Grand Slam trophy of the year. That's the Australian Open. But now let's move into football. This is one league that I know you are very passionate about as an Arsenal fan. And match day 23, let me just ask you first of all, which game did it for you? For me, it was the Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest. Being in top form in the recent games, I didn't expect a 5-0 defeating of Tottenham Forest by Brentford. However, that was the game that did it for me. For you, what game did it for you?
Well, I think we're on the same page on this because outside the traditional top 6, Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest have been the surprise teams of this season. So I was expecting a very tight game between both. But unfortunately, I don't know what happened. Forest, they just went to Bournemouth and capitulated. Losing 5-0 doesn't tell well. all the plus goal differences they have with this -5 is going to give them a big blow at the end of the season. People were even saying that Nottingham Forest might finish in Champions League places, but with this, I just hope it doesn't demoralize the team and make them lose more games. But then again, we see Liverpool expectedly winning against Ipswich. I mean, they are the league leaders. One would expect them to pick up that win. Arsenal was almost upset by Wolves, one of the teams in the relegation
one of the
zone.
very competitive
And that very controversial
match,
red card by
2 red cards.
the referee, I think it was uncalled for. I think they are trying to justify, but we've seen incidences that are similar to that, where only yellow cards were brandished. For when it comes to Arsenal, Arsenal, like many would say, it becomes a different ball game altogether. But
That's
then
the
they were
Arsenal
able to
man in
turn
you
out.
talking. Are you sure
Yes.
that's not the Arsenal man in you talking?
That's not the Arsenal man in me talking. There are incidents in the past where a similar tackle was made and only a yellow card was shown. But this time around, a red card for Myers Lewis Kelly, not the best one. For Chelsea, they gave the fans a false hope going ahead against Manchester City. A resurgent Manchester City side. Pep Guardiola is going to the market, gotten 1 or 2 players, and this win might just be the turning point for Manchester City. I think they might begin to believe again that they can push for the titles. And of course, Liverpool and Arsenal should be wary of that man Pep Guardiola coming from behind.
And then Leicester City, I know we talked about this game off air. Yeah. Leicester City and Tottenham Forest at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Did you see this happening to a Tottenham Hotspur against a Leicester City? Like you rightly said off air, this is a team everybody's picking points from. How do you go and lose to them at home?
That underlines their status as a very unserious side. Daniel Levy at Tottenham just need to do a lot more. I don't really know what is wrong with the team. Ange Postecoglou came into the side. I think he was on his 17-match winning streak, or without losing for 17 matches. So losing to Leicester City 1-2 is a very poor result for him. And after that game, I was beginning to feel that just the Carabao Cup semi-finals he's playing against Liverpool is the only thing holding him. I feel that if he loses that semi-finals, he might just be out of Tottenham at the end of the day. For Liverpool, for Fulham, losing 1-0 against Manchester United at home, that's a very big win for Manchester United.
Oh, a big win, you say, because if you watch the game, I did watch the game. I think Manchester United struggled most of the time. And then the first actual action in goal was almost at the end of the game. So do you see that telling on Manchester United as a good team?
Well, I'm not surprised because Manchester United, they've been trying to, Amorim has been tinkering with the team. He came into the side, froze out Marcus Rashford. To him, he's saying the young man is not focused. Then again, another performer for Manchester United, Leonardo Garnacho, is someone he's about to sell. So I think he's trying to find the winning 11 that will get the results for him. Most of the times, he prefers to play Holland ahead of Zexi. And also this Lenny Yoro, who just came to Manchester United, is also starting from the bench. So I think he needs 1 or 2 more seasons to
trying to find his balance. Yeah,
that will keep getting him the result. For now, that was a great win for Manchester United over the weekend.
All right, indeed. Manchester United fans will be happy with Justice and what he just said right now. And it's a great win for Manchester United fans, perhaps just to keep them in contention for the title, maybe European Champions League.
For the title, I wouldn't really
it's just March Day 23.
But then to finish somewhere in Europe, is still within sight. All
right, now moving from the English Premier League, let's now come back home to the Nigerian Premier League. Also, the league makes a return over the weekend and matches were played across centers in Nigeria. These were the results from match day 20 after almost 1 month of break in the Nigerian Top Flight Football League. These were the results of Justice and then the current standing. Remo Stars sit up that table right there. Rivers United coming in. Enugu Rangers somewhere around 4th position out of, should I say, continental slots. Your thoughts on the results and standings?
You're lamenting the Enugu Rangers' position on the table. Then what will you say about
Eimba? Well, they are the defending champions, so I mean, they are supposed to make headlines in some way or the other.
I think there's something synonymous with the tennis star, the famous tennis star I just talked about, Madison Keys and Remo Stars. Waiting for your time. Remo Stars, they've been there for the past 4 seasons.
They've been in the top almost, 4. Yes. So top 3 even.
The manager has been there, Coach Daniel. He's been there for quite some time. So the momentum has been gathering over the years. I think it was just waiting for that time. It's time to to leap into the first place and retain it. And exactly that is what Remo is doing right now. It was a statement win at Uyo, beating Aqua United by 2-1.
Yeah.
And Rivers United losing in Jos by 2-1, opening up a 5-point gap. I think Remo Stars, they are favourites to win the league this season. They should just try that as much as they could to retain that position. Of course, if you look at the goal scoring chart, they are the best scoring side in the league with 25 goals. When it comes to the defense, they've conceded 13, same as the 3 teams under them. So they're in a very good position, I would say.
Now let's talk about Shooting Stars. I know last season they almost took the game from Enugu Rangers. I mean, they were actually waiting for the last whistle, the final whistle of the final day, to know that Shooting Stars and Remo Stars were in contention for the Champions League. And now Shooting Stars is back into contention in March the 20th, and they still have one game at hand to play. Your thoughts? 33 points, just right behind, second place there.
If they win their outstanding match, they'll be on 36 points, 3 points behind Remo Stars. Like I said, Remo, they've been there over the years, finishing in the top 4, back to back to back. And for Shooting Stars to also be pushing for this at this moment, it shows that they also are consistent. So they should just continue to do what they know how to do best. Just like Remo, their time will come. Even if it is not this season, they'll definitely get there. One thing in life is, if you continue to do the right thing consistently, you definitely get there.
Now going back to the bottom 3, the Lobby Stars, Aqua United, despite the win, they're still struggling in the relegation zone. And Nasarawa United also in the bottom place right there. Nasarawa United, quite an interesting team, gained promotion back to the NPFL. And they've not been really amazing so far when it comes to result. Your thoughts on this team? Because I'm going to take you to the next conversation, but let me just get your thoughts on the bottom 3. Who do you think is going to survive this one? Or who's going to leap out of this one? Because it's quite a tight call there. You can see from 16, it is 23 points. 17 in Bender Insurance dropped there this March day 20 to 21 points. And Lobby Stars 20, Aqua United 19, and Nasarawa United 19. Goal difference, separating the sides.
Not so much is separating the last 5 teams.
Yes.
So
yes.
anything could still happen. If you ask me, I'm so attached to Bender Insurance.
Okay.
I
know, from Benin.
Yes, I know what it took the state government to drag this team back, into the top flight. And last season they weren't so spectacular. They finished somewhere around middle of the table. Seeing them here beats it's painful to see Bender Insurance right there. But then I just hope they're able to make it out. For Nasarawa United, it's not always easy to come into the top flight and maintain that
balance.
Yeah, so who knows? They might just be in rock bottom at this moment. Does not spell well for them. They might just be returning. But then, like you said, we should be saying something about them having the top scorer in the league.
Yes, let's move to the next conversation. While Nasarawa United are struggling in the relegation zone, good news for the team because they have the best or the highest goal scorer currently in the league, talking about Anas Yusuf, with 11 goals so far in the competition. And then there is also Raibu Ali there of Kano Pillars, follow him back to back with 8 goals so far after match day 20. Your thoughts on these two? Nasarawa United, is this a good news for them? And he's a captain. That's another thing we should put in. 2 captains here.
Well, 20 years old and
Anas,
44 years
old.
One of the longest serving players in the league. The
Our
captain
Ronaldo, I see Ronaldo.
For a long time. So for him, I don't think his team is going to survive that relegation. But then that's a big statement from Nasarawa United. I think something good to talk about. But then in the long run, they might just lose him because you can't relegate a team
and
with
have
the
this
top scorer
as
relegated
well. Yeah.
He's definitely moving to another side. He's been on the side for like all his life. Just once he went to Wiki Tourist sometime about 5 seasons ago. He's been there regularly with them. The highest goal tally he's returned before now was 3 goals, and now he's gotten 11. So let's see what happens if he leaves Nasarawa United and another team. Will he be able to continue with this form? If he's able to do that, then he might be catching the eye of the Super Eagles manager to maybe give him a try at the Chan or any tournament and see what he has to offer. If he continues, of course, we know he might just get a contract with the club overseas, and that might just be the start of his an illustrious career for him.
That's always the story for Nigerian players, and I'm not expecting him to stay with Nasarawa United precisely whether they relegate or not after this season. But now, finally, to our conversation before we go quickly, the CAF draw, the CAF 2025 draws. Finals happens tonight, and Nigeria will get to know the opponent from the other pot. Nigeria is currently seated in Port 1 alongside defending champions, or should I say current champions, Cote d'Ivoire, Senegal, Egypt, and the rest. So we know that Nigeria will be avoiding these opponents. But do you think Nigeria, what opponents would you prefer for Nigeria to go into the group with?
While I feel it's good to avoid these teams you just mentioned, the Senegal, Ivory Coast, Egypt, and the likes, we shouldn't forget that there are also teams in other ports that are traditional problems for the Super Eagles. Cameroon is not in that pot. Meaning Nigeria could be drawing the same group
Cameroon,
with
yes.
Cameroon. So
Burkina Faso,
not
South
not
Africa
of
almost took us out of the
South Africa.
Yes.
So let's keep our fingers crossed and just hope for the best of draws. But then I don't believe that for you to win the tournament, you have to avoid the best, because for you to be the best, you have to be the best. So they should just cross their mind that any team that comes their way in that group, they are making out of the group. That is how you know a true champion. And for you to be emerged as champions, you must beat the best of the best.
All right. Thank you so much, Just Ali, for sharing your thoughts to us this morning on Kakaki.
So
much, Just Ali, for sharing your thoughts to us this morning on Kakaki Sport.
Thank you.
All right. Like Justice rightly said, tonight is the night where Nigeria, the Super Eagles of Nigeria, will get to know their opponent and your group, as long as the AFCON 2025 Morocco is concerned. So fingers crossed, and perhaps let the best team get the best team. That's what we will say here. But that's our package on Kakaki Sport this beautiful Monday morning. Thanks for watching once again. I am Simbi Shima. Up next is the social intervention segment.